Thank you very much. I think it's an honor for me to be here in the next conference. It's an amazing event that we shared some of our thoughts in in data in AI, and this is not a separate or a single topic. It has been permeated in all the industries. So today we're going to discuss about the governance in the age of AI agents. Um, as the kind of introduction, well, I'm uh, love the research. I work also as head of AI in Mexico. Uh, work. I've been working with multiple industries during all my career. So I think this is a excellent event. So we can share some information regarding the governance. And today we're going to have a few topics that we want to discuss. We're going to pass or start with why the governance matters. Then we go with the key dimensions of governance, then how to implement within an organization, some use cases on lessons learned, and finally, well, some strategic recommendations, and then we open to any questions that you may have. So before going into that, I think it's important to set our where are we standing in AI. I think everybody has been bumped with so many terms, AI everywhere. Even I think is the flavor of the month, AI. But it's important to understand that not everything is generative AI or Gen AI. There is still space for the traditional, what I call traditional AI, and that's the single purpose AI. And it's part of techniques that we use for prediction, prescription, and that's machine learning. We have to take into consideration that there are plenty of problems that we can still solve with machine learning. And also there is a deep learning. Deep learning in this side, in the left side, is also is still in use for computer vision, audio, uh, natural process language, and that opens the door for generative AI. So all the neural networks is the thing that we're using right now for Gen AI. And from there, in Gen AI, we have assistants and we have agents. We're going to see quickly and briefly the difference between those. And that's the companies are building right now agentic systems. So it's not a automation of process or it's not having a chatbot only. It's allowing pieces of software, autonomous agents that can help to provide services or answers to the clients and users within the organization. And we can have from platform, we can have application oriented, but all the Gen AI has a common background or a common platform that is the LLMs, the large language models, and we have tons of options where we can choose. Uh, Quickly, and sorry that one slide is in Spanish, but this is the architecture of an AI assistant. Uh, an assistant and an agent, they're similar, but we're going to see in the next slide the main difference. Usually an assistant is going to take the information from user and then it's going to process it. It's going to have the message is going to be tokenized and then sent to the LLM model. And the model is going to return the answer from tokens again, and then written in natural language that we can understand. That's basically the architecture of an assistant. But if we go to the agent, an agent changed a little bit, and you can see this. There is a brain in the middle, and that brain is going to have reasoning about what task and what pieces of break out a problem into separate the different pieces, and then that those pieces, the step by step in order to solve that main problem of the query that the user is looking for. Also, the additional difference is the agent can trigger actions. So an agent can write into a database, send you an email, talk to another agent, use another assistant, write a letter, record audio. So it extends very, very incredible the way that we can work. So agents and assistants are right now working within the companies. All the organizations are eager to implement them, and they are already doing it. And that's why we need to start talking about the governance. Why governance of agents matters. I think we can start with the rise of to dissect this topic is we need to understand that there is a race of autonomous agents in the enterprise. And in recent years, I think everybody, or we have witnessed the rapid emergence of autonomous agents across industries. The agents are no longer just static models or simple chatbots. They are dynamic systems capable of perceiving their environments, making decisions, taking actions without constant human intervention. That's key. And from automated customer service representatives to financial optimization bots or logistic planners, all those AI agents are becoming integral parts of business operations. As these options accelerate, understanding how to govern their behavior becomes a strategic necessity. So it's not just a fad or just for the sake of doing it, it's a necessity. So what is agentic behavior in business context? I think that's another question. This question can be used to reflect on that. The agentic behavior refers basically to the capacity of the AI systems to operate with a degree of autonomy, making decisions, initiating actions, interacting with other systems or humans, and usually is in pursuit of defined goals. So if we have a business setting, this means agents can optimize workflows, can negotiate, recommend, or even execute transactions. However, their behavior is shaped by data. So in the background, all the time is going to be data. So this is the behavior is by shaped data. We're going to have algorithms, evolving interactions, and that's going to pose another question. How do we ensure this behavior aligns with the organization's three aspects: objectives, values, and legal requirements? So, saying so, it's important to detect what are going to be the key risks that we can have. And I think there are three that we can discuss. One is the misaligned decisions. Let's put it in an example to make it easier. Assume that an AI agent is designed to optimize delivery routes for a logistic company, for instance. So started favoring routes that minimize fuel costs, but ignored customer delivery time windows. See the problem? As a result, high priority clients received late deliveries, damaging the customer relationships and content performance. Is going to be a mess. The agent's optimization objective was not properly aligned with the business priorities, which includes obviously both cost and service level agreements. Do you see this is an example of misaligned decisions that we can have. The other risk that we can face is lack of transparency. Thinking about a good example for that is, let's talk about a financial services company. Let's say they deployed an AI on the writing agent to assess loan applications. The agent decision is going to be based on a complex neural network model with limited explainability. When regulator requested explanations for rejected applications for minority groups, the company is not going to be able to clearly demonstrate how those decisions were made. Just imagine a neural network that is going to be explained to people that doesn't have a feeling or mathematics is going to be complex. So this lack of transparency led um, to compliance risks and erosion of trust with both customers and regulators. So that's another risk that we are facing with agents. And for instance, for the least, it's legal and reputation impact. Uh, let's change for another example. Uh, let's discuss that Globant fashion brand. Okay, that implemented an AI content generator for social media campaigns. Without the adequate oversight, the agent produced, let's suppose, marketing material that unintentionally included culturally insensitive imagery. Uh, the content was quickly picked up and criticized on social media. Yeah, that's going to lead to public relationship crisis and legal scrutiny in certain markets where this is going to be considered offensive. That incident is going to damage the brand's reputation and is going to result maybe in fines or maybe in a regulation in advertising. So at the end, it's going to be a problem. So there are risks that we're going to face if we don't include governance, and companies are facing these kind of problems right now. So let's say we can discuss the dimensions of governance for AI agents. For that, I would like to address a few items, a few key dimensions that we have to consider when we are talking about governance. Um, let's discuss these for once. The first is transparency, and transparency means that both technical teams and business stakeholders can understand how the AI agent operates. This this means creating your AI agent and govern the AI agent is not going to be exclusively an exclusive responsibility of the technical team. It is both ways or both parties, business and technical. And this is going to ensure the traceability. You have the ability to track what inputs, decisions, actions the agent is going to perform or has performed. And also important, explainability. So you need to have the ability to describe why the agent choose a particular action. In If we talk about corporate environments, I've been or I had some experience regarding that. This is a critical aspect for compliance, internal auditing. And if you can explain and you can be transparent with your AI agents, you're going to build trust with your users. Without transparency, it's going to become kind of impossible to verify whether an agent is acting according to organization policies. So that's a key dimension that we need to take into consideration. The second one is accountability. Uh, you have to you need to have a clear assignment of roles. Who designs, who validates, who monitors. AI agents do not exist in a vacuum. They are designed and deployed and managed by people. People are still on the picture, human on the in the loop. We're still there. But if you have clear accountability, or this clear accountability defines who is responsible for each stage of the agent's life cycle. Uh, let's start with the initial design and finish with the ongoing monitoring. So this is essential to establish governance roles. For example, data scientists, they may be responsible for model accuracy, legal teams for compliance, and operations teams for monitoring real world behavior. Without defined ownership, the organizations cannot effectively manage risk or ensure corrective actions when they are needed. So this is why this is a key dimension to have accountability. Third one is auditing. And it's not just auditing in each quarter or each semester or once a year. It has to be continuous. You need to have dashboards, logs, bias reviews, performance trackings, just to mention some of them. Uh, but as I mentioned, it's not a one-time validation before deployment. The continuous auditing ensures that your AI agents are monitored in real time. You need to see how they are performing with dashboards and visibility into agent decisions and KPIs, the key performance indicators. Logging those agent actions enables traceability and one very important aspect, post hoc analysis. If you have regular reviews that should assess for performance degradations, it's possible that biases emerge or you have a deviation on behavior. So if you have those tools in place that can provide you feedback and look necessary to keep all the AI agents aligned with corporate objectives, then you are in the right path. So continuous auditing is key. And finally, but not less important, the human in the loop. There should be human in the loop or override. And that's going to be that even autonomous agents can operate or, or could operate under human oversight. The human in the loop or human on the loop mechanisms ensures that humans can intervene when agents encounter novel situations or maybe high risk decisions. So the human can take control or override the policy or the actions for the agent. Those internal governance policies must define clear escalation paths. If something is broken or if something fails, who human is going to be responsible or is going to take an action? When you should pause an agent and require human approval. So as you can see, it's important to have the human in the loop. So those are four key decisions that we can have in order to establish or start to establish the governance. Now, I think I think with those key dimensions, we can move into the next topic, that is the internal governance. How to implement this within an organization. And I think this is one of the questions that many may have. Okay, I have my agents. I understand that I need the internal the governance, but how can I implement it? So I'm going to share with you some advices, few of them. I'm not going to take much of your time, but I think those five key points that we're going to share, I think that's going to make sense to everyone. Uh, so first one, I will say, let's go with creating an AI governance board. And that should be that board or could be cross-functional committee. Uh, the key here is implementing an effective AI governance starts with leadership and cross-functional collaboration. As I mentioned before, you cannot leave the responsibility just to the tech team or to the business team. It has to be collaboration and everybody participates on this. An AI governance board should be composed of IT, legal, business, compliance, ethics. So it's not just one man orchestra. It's several aspects and several points of view that needs to be involved in this. And if you have that kind of a team, is going to provide to your organization an oversight and guidance on the development of use of any AI agents that you may have. So this board is going to define governance policies, is going to prioritize risks, is going to ensure alignment between the AI initiatives and the organizational values. So without a formal structure, your governance efforts risks become, or it tends to become a fragmented, or it may be reactive. So you need to have a formal structure for your governance board. Second step that I would recommend to take is define policies for deployment, updates, and decommissioning of AI agents. This is the first time I bet that you are hearing decommission AI agents. Well, because agents are going to be a piece of software, they have to live within the software development lifecycle, and it's going to have a versioning, and it's going to have a decommission or a sunset for certain version or even certain agents. So your agents should not be deployed without clear policies covering this entire life cycle. Governance should define procedures for safe deployment. That's going to include validation and testing. Uh, you need to manage updates because you don't want to have unintended changes. And for decommissioning, it will be the outdated or misaligned agents. You need to have also that process in place. So if you treat AI agents like living systems with version control and change management, that's going to help you prevent unintended consequences when agents evolve or when business priorities shift. So it's important to have those policies in place. That's a huge recommendation that I do to all my clients when they ask me for any advice. The third one is also important. You need to classify or make a catalog of your agents, but from not from the functionality aspect, but from the risk level. So let's start. Not all agents pose the same level of risk. Some are low stakes. Uh, Example, the internal productivity bots. They are in-house, low stakes. It's not going to have that kind of risk. Maybe others may impact directly have an impact in customers or maybe finance or regulatory outcomes. So a formal catalog of all the AI agents that you have in your organization should be classified by at least three aspects that I can suggest: autonomy, criticality, and risk exposure. Those three variables, they need to be cataloged or classifying all your AI agents. And that's going to allow you to differentiate governance. Let's talk about an analogy. Imagine when you have your documents, you classify your documents depending the content each document has. And some are public, some are classified, and some are restricted. Same happens with your AI agents. So autonomy, criticality, and risk exposure is a good point of start to classifying your agents. Fourth aspect talks about your onboarding and offboarding of AI agents and treat them like not change the aspect or how you look at your AI agents. Treat them like digital employees. So your AI agents will be treated with the same rigor as human employees in terms of governance. So that means you need to have a formal onboarding process. That onboarding process is not that you're going to have ask for ID or birth certificate for the AI agents, obviously not, but you have to include testing, proof that the test has been done or has been within the process. You need to have also, before releasing to production your AI agent, request full documentation. So you need to know what it's doing, how it's doing, how it was constructed to enable transparency, and also sign off before agents are put into production. So that's why you need to have that's the onboarding part. And similarly, you have offboarding, and that should ensure that retired agents are fully deactivated. And the main part is what happens with the data. The data should be managed appropriately. And there's not going to left orphan processes that remain active. Maybe data that could be lingered around access or that anybody can have access. So you have to do the offboarding also within a process. If you view your agents as part of your digital workforce, and that reinforces accountability and discipline in AI management. Last one is keep your governance KPIs and KRAs. Trust, autonomy, efficiency, incidents that you may have with your agents. So, to measure the effectiveness of AI governance, organizations of all companies should define your key performance indicators, the KPIs, but also another index that is the or indicators is the key risk indicators, KRIs. Examples will include level of trust in agent outputs. It could be rated by users, for instance. It could be degrees of autonomy granted, efficiency improvements, and incident rates that could be errors or policy violations. So you have to take in consideration variables that you can measure. There's a saying in engineering, if you cannot measure, you cannot improve it. So tracking those metrics over time, the organization can assess whether the governance practices are working or you need to do some adjustments. And believe me, you need to do some adjustments in certain points. So far we have this the implementation steps. We have already seen the maybe some indicators, why it's relevant. But how about use cases and some lessons learned? So let's say we have some examples here. Let's imagine we have an agent or we have agents in customer service. And this is important to say when we need to escalate. So we know everybody that AI agents are widely used in customer service. We have chatbots, handling the common inquiries. We have advanced virtual agents resolving complex issues. But however, if we don't have the clear governance, these agents may persist in unhelpful interactions or fail to escalate sensitive matters. So the successful implementations include well-defined thresholds for escalation. Let's say when a customer expresses frustration when legal or compliance issues arise, or when the agent reaches the limits of its knowledge. That's also one case that happens, and that has been I've seen this happens in the retail industry, and you need to deal with what happens when your agent reaches that limits of knowledge. You need to then pass this information or this case with a human in the loop. And also you need to have the mechanisms in place to avoid the customer to repeat himself with now the human. That's very frustrating. So when we see these scenarios, the governance ensures or has been helpful to ensure that the human agents intervene in the right moments. So that helps to keep the customer trust and the satisfaction. It could be also another example that we have is in the financial automation. We can have interpretation risks. In finance, we have seen agents that are increasingly used for tasks like invoice processing, fraud detection, and sometimes investment recommendations. But one of the common pitfalls that we have seen and we need to take in consideration is when over-reliance of AI-generated results without human oversight. Sometimes this is interesting about when these agents can misinterpret or provide you ambiguous data or context. That's going to maybe lead to a review process, maybe validation steps, and at the end, maybe a wrong decision. So we can have also examples in when we have real world examples in when we have governance policies, and we can have in financial, manufacturing, retail, and in every single industry, we need to have governance policies in action. Every single industry, no matter what you do, what the industry, with what kind of clients you have, you need to, if you implement AI agents, you're going to need governance. So let's just for closing, we can say as a strategic recommendations that we may have. It's well, the first as a reflection and in conclusion, governing AI is governing the business. Your agents must align with corporate objectives and values. Let's remember that. Another recommendation is going to start with governance pilots and in high impact areas. This is a common mistake when you're trying to implement comprehensive AI governance across the entire organization from day one, like a big bang. A more effective approach is to launch governance pilots in specific high impact areas, such as customer facing agents, for instance, financial automation, operational optimization. Though these pilots helps to the organizations to test the governance frameworks and identify challenges and refine practices before scaling governance across all the company. Other one is the importance of documentation, training, and technical audits from day one. That's key. Successful governance starts with the strong foundations. So these documentations, and sometimes we as engineers, we hate to do documentation, but it's very important to have that agent design, behavior, and limitations well documented. I think we can conclude that an agent without governance is not intelligent. It is uncontrollable. AI agents, no matter how advanced they are, they require structures and oversight to ensure they serve the organization effectively. When we're moving into this age of AI agents, the governance is not an obstacle to innovation. That's also a key remark that we need to consider. It is the key to making the AI both powerful and safe. So with that, I have no more than thank you and appreciate the time that we spent today. I hope this has been useful and provide you some insights, inspiration maybe, so you can start doing, if you have already AI agents deployed, you go to the next step, that is the governance. If not, well, let's start doing to think about governance while we are thinking about the AI agents. Thank you very much. Tim, I don't know if you have any questions. Well, we have one here. One question, let me read it for you. It said, it is important, or is how easily it is to develop an AI governance and how can we get help? Well, if you need to do a governance policy, and let's say you start from a blank sheet, the first thing is bring the key players that can have decision on the governance. Like I mentioned, the tech team or data team. You can have also the business and most important, legal department. They need to participate in this governance. Obviously, you're going to have an ethical committee or among, there should be a role among that. So you need to start with those folks in that group. And from there, you need to start working towards specific policies that you need to take in consideration regarding how you're going to govern the life cycle of your agent. Documentation, testing, validation, traceability, explainability, logging every single decision. And from there, maybe they're going to be very small or or very simple steps, but that's your starting point. And from there, you can evolve. I think that's the easiest way to start if you have a blank piece of paper and you need to start from somewhere. I think if time we are running almost on time. So any other questions that you may have, you can ask via Slido, and we will take those and I'll try to do those answers when we sync or doing offline. Back to you, Tim.